Hey folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. We're North Georgia's only live online morning show, FYNTV.com. Please do not shoot your computer screen. Cole has had some fun with some graphics, and I do know every time we go to break, there's a turkey gobbling at you, and that is Cole's. Well, thank you, Cole. We enjoy it. I got a message. Somebody said they're about ready to shoot the turkey on the TV screen. I'm here with William Bell. William Bell's from Pickens County. And William is on the board of the Pickens County Republican Party in charge of membership. He handles membership. William, thank you for coming in and sitting down with me here for about 45 minutes. It's always a joy when you get to come up and we can talk politics. I think there's something we should get out of the way right up front, don't you? What is that?
You were right.
Oh, it's my day.
Way ahead of the curve.
Thanksgiving, it's come early.
and a happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
No, but you know, we enjoyed talking all through the primaries, and I know back and forth we would send messages and sometimes some phone calls, and you've been on the show. Yep. But you know, it's interesting. We went through, and I'll say as Republicans, we went through the media wanting to know if we would ever unify, and it's kind of humorous today of what happened there. We kind of worked our differences out, or whatever they may be, and seems like
without any backroom deals.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like somebody else better figure out if they can unify.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question for our viewers, real quick. There's a special. Is it 50? It's a District 54.
Yes,
54.
Senate District.
Senate District 54 has a special election. Can you tell our viewers you're a little more up on it because West Pickens is in that area.
Correct.
The voters are in that area, West Pickens. Can you tell what led to that special election, what came up to it, and some details on it?
Absolutely. Yeah, what we have is our state senator, Charlie Bethel, was appointed by the governor to the appellate court position that was open, which, you know, congratulations to Charlie. I think he'll do a fantastic job in that position. Charlie was one of those people we could count on in Pickens to come in and work with us on any issues we had on anything, and just from an advisory standpoint. But the special election is to fill that vacant seat, and we've had 5 candidates qualify for it, and one of those is Conda Lowry Goodson. I think you'd met.
Yes, I've met her.
When she was running before. She's run this as a Republican. Chuck Payne, who is a Republican from there in the Dalton area. Chuck's been very active in the Republican Party up there for a number of years, and actually just retired from a state position about a month ago in the juvenile part of the
I've heard a lot about Mr. Payne. I don't know him, but I have heard a lot about him.
Yeah. And you know, to give a reading stuff, I mean, you know, I'll go through and give you my opinion on these once I go through the ones that I know. Shell Underwood is another Republican from up there in the Dalton area. She's been very active in the party and worked with the Trump-Pence campaign there when we had them there at Dalton State. William Vineyard is a construction company owner there in the Dalton-Whitfield County area. And then Debbie Peppers is running as a nonpartisan for that position. And I think everybody but Conda Lowry Goodson is from, you know, Dalton, Whitfield County. Of course, Conda's from the Tengay area, more in the Murray County area and stuff. So I think it'll be interesting to see.
So right now there's five candidates for, and this is for the 54th State Senate District over here from Whitfield.
Yeah, Whitfield, Murray, Gordon.
West Pickens.
Yeah, West Pickens and part of Gordon.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question now. Are you aware of this? This is not a trick question. I don't even know it myself. Are you aware in a special election the rule of 50.1 doesn't apply? 50 plus 1 vote doesn't apply? Is it most votes and it's over? Or you know that?
That side of it I'm not 100% sure on.
Yeah, that's something I want to check out because I don't know myself.
If I'm not mistaken, the 50 plus 1 rule does apply, which that's our biggest figure, obviously, from the Board of Elections standpoint, is with this many candidates coming in, it'll be determined by the people who show up and vote, which I expect with that many candidates in Whitfield County, that'll be a heavy turnout in Dalton. But Gordon County, a lot of people may not know this, that the city of Calhoun is actually not in that district. It's actually in the district with Rome and out that direction. So you really only have rural Gordon County and then Dalton, and then the Murray and the edge of Pickens County. So the precincts that will actually be involved in Pickens County, because of the way the district lines run, are Hill City District, which is at Hill City Elementary, Hinton, which is at the community center out there, Jerusalem, which is the Jerusalem church area out there in our community center, Ludville, which is the community center, Talking Rock, which we use the Presbyterian Church, the city of Jasper, with 2 people in that precinct that will actually be able to vote in this, and then Tate, which is actually the Pickens County Middle School,
right,
where we vote there. So, and early voting, will start this week, the 28th, and we'll run through December 9th. We do, and that's from 8 to 5, and then we have a Saturday voting.
But early voting is not at the precincts, it's at the courthouse?
Nope, we have it because of the way it's set up. We have all those precincts manned with 4 people and minimum 2 machines per precinct.
Okay, so that's something I want to make clear up, because generally in the elections, early voting, you go to the election office,
on
right?
Pioneers.
But in this special election, early voting is at your precinct.
Yes, yes. And then we're also going to have to, by state regs, have a Saturday voting, which that will be December 3rd from 9 to 4. So, and what I would say, if anybody's not sure, well, they're in the 54th district, is go to Brian Kemp's website, which is the sos.ga.gov website. Put in your information, and it'll tell you specifically if you're in District 54. So.
Well, folks, Pickens County is in a unique position with representation from Congress. You have one side of the county is Congressman Tom Graves, right?
Correct.
And the other side of the county is Congressman Doug Collins, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with state senate here.
Yeah, Steve Gooch.
Steve Gooch is on one side of the county, and Charlie Bethel was on the other side of the county. So, but now you only have Rick Jaspers as your representative.
He's our state representative.
But it is something in Pickens County. If you're not sure, you do have an election, and as William Bell's telling you, get in touch with either your local election office, get in touch with the Republican Party there, they'll help you, but most of all, you can go to the Secretary of State's website, Brian Kemp, and you can put your information in, and it will tell you if you are in this special election district, right?
Correct. And one thing to add to that is, this is not a Republican election. It is across the board,
right,
Democrat, Republican, nonpartisan. Every registered voter who voted in the presidential election, that qualify for that, is we want them to turn out to vote for this. And just as a sidebar, the Republican Party in Pickens County, December 1st, from 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. at the County Administrative Building, we're going to hold a meet and greet. And I've got all 5 of those candidates.
I got that up too. And just a minute on that. I would like to reiterate, because this is great information, folks. Mm-hmm. There is no, and this is where people get confused, well, I'm waiting for the Democrat primary. There's no primary in this special election. Right. Okay, because generally what you're used to is a party primary, and then you get a candidate from both, and then they run. This is, as Mr. Bell's telling you, this is a nonpartisan race, meaning if you're out there and you're a registered voter and you're in one of these precincts, anywhere in any of these counties that we're talking about, you need to go vote, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, you guys are having a meet the candidate. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I seen that up there. The Republican Party of Pickens County, you guys are having a meet the candidate night. Give us some information on that.
Yeah, we're going to have it December 1st from 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. at the Pickens County Administrative Building, which is at 1266 South Church Street. It's the old Roper Hospital building. Downstairs in what they call the Pickens Room, we'll have light refreshments and snacks and that type thing. And I've got all 5 of the candidates are confirmed to be there during that 2-hour window. And the same thing, one of these candidates is going to be our state senator. So if you want to see what they're about, whether their views are in line with yours, like I think a lot of people will do if they're going to vote, they'll probably vote on election day. So that December 1st event is a great time to come out and have the conversation and decide which one of these candidates you want to support. So we encourage everybody to come out for that. Same thing, the GOP is sponsoring the event, but it is open to the public. We want the public to be there. Of course, you're always invited. We love to.
Oh yeah, I've already got that on the calendar. I can't wait to go down. Yeah,
because to kind of touch on.
I mean, I know you're not having a tomato sandwich or a mater sandwich, and
Yeah.
I know there's not going to be any Duke's mayonnaise, but I will come anyway. Oh, I'm telling you, how many years have they done that tomato sandwich picnic?
Oh, I don't know, at least 10 now.
Oh, I think I'm all 10. I think I'm 10 for 10. If you gave out a button like a 10 for 10, I know, no, my wife and I never miss that. That's one of the greatest things. But we're going to be down. I'm going to be down at the open house now. Not to put you on the spot, and you don't have to. But are there any candidates you'd like to comment on before we switch to national?
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of give an overview of what I've perceived in conversations with the different candidates. Larry Goodson, of course, she ran against Charlie in the primary earlier this year. Conda is from Murray County. She's very enthusiastic about what she wants to do. As far as experience, she's not been in any type of legislation position locally, city, county, or anything. So I know it'll be a little bit of a challenge for Conda, but she has her support. She took Pickens County 25% of the vote against Charlie, and Charlie been in office for a number of years.
Well, I will say this. I have interviewed Ms. Goodson twice, and legislatively, I don't want to use the word struggle. That wouldn't be fair to her because I don't want to be negative, and I'm not. Right. So I think I would concur with you. Legislatively, she'll have to walk through and get her bearings.
Right.
But I tell you what, she has the gut for it. She goes after it. I got to give her that.
That's the thing, is without the experience, she'll have to wade through the swamp that we have in Atlanta. But she's passionate. And that's refreshing in somebody. Then Chuck Payne, who's been involved in the party for a number of years, even before the old 9th and 14th district split. But what I perceive from his statements and that type of thing and stuff, and I'm not saying anything that I wouldn't say to his face stuff. I have the same problem with him that I did with Doug Collins. I want somebody to legislate, not preach. I appreciate everybody starting prayer off in the morning, but I don't want to see it on your Facebook every day. What I see from Chuck, I feel like he may be somewhat of a status quo person. If he gets in, I think he'll go along to get along, because he's not put out any issues that I've seen him make that are pertinent to his election, other than filling the spot.
I'm going to say what I've heard, and I want to be clear out there. I always like to be clear. Mm-hmm. I'm not drawing a judgment or a conclusion on this candidate. I've heard he would be welcomed in Atlanta.
Atlanta, yeah.
Right?
That's right.
That's what some people have said to me. But now I've not heard a negative. I hear he's a great guy.
Right.
Nice guy.
No, personally.
But I've heard he would fit in Atlanta, is what I was told.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? And not being unfair to him, and I would give him an opportunity to clear up that if that's what I'm looking at.
Well, yeah, and I think, the opportunity with...
But then voters, William, sometimes that's what they want. They are the voters.
Absolutely, and that's...
Go ahead.
And then Michelle Underwood, she has been active in the party. She seems very focused on education. She's put out some points in her posts and that type of thing that she really is concerned with and would like to focus on. William Vineyard, the construction owner, not really much of anything out there as far as information on him. Seemed like a very pleasant man, very family oriented, and obviously a business person in the county. And then Debbie Peppers, she's been very active in the party, but even from a nonpartisan standpoint. So be interested to see. But Larry Goodson definitely has things that are on her agenda that she wants to address. And I think that Shell Underwood has the same thing. And I look for that in a candidate. And when I'm talking to them, I want to know what their focus is, what they think their goal is when they get there. We know things change when you get down there and you have to find out what committees and how you achieve those goals. But I think if you walk into Atlanta in January for those 40 days without an objective that you want to work on, you're going to spend 40 days figuring out where the offices are and that type of thing. And you have a tendency to vote the way that the maybe the party would want you to vote to get through that first legislative session.
When is the open house again?
It is December 1st from 7 p.m. till 9 p.m.
Where at?
At the Pickens County Administrative Building, 1266 South Church Street, downstairs.
Folks, as I want to invite you personally to go meet these candidates, ask these questions. Don't take our word for it. I mean, we're sharing what we've heard. We're sharing what William's sharing, Mr. Bell sharing what he knows, meeting these candidates. But you're the voter. Come and meet these candidates. Ask the questions. Load it up. Education, healthcare, taxes. Load up the questions about your local area and somebody representing you as a state senator in the 54th district. We're going to cut this segment, Cole, this one right here just by itself, and we're going to call it State Senate 54 Special Election. We'll put that on there. You can find it on our YouTube channel, FYN TV, Fetch Your News YouTube channel. And we're going to take a brief break, and then I'm going to come back. And I'm going to back out of the way a little bit. I know you're not used to that because you're used to getting my opinion, but I'm going to ask Mr. Bell his opinion on some of the names that Donald Trump is floating out in the transition team for some of these offices and cabinet posts. Cole, take us to break, friend.
Pizza Hut makes great pizza, but they can't tell you what a gift it is. I can. They took a grilled cheese and combined it with stuffed crust pizza. To think, I almost wasn't here to try it.
How did you?
It's not important, Jen. What's important is that I watched the sunrise this morning. Then I got to stand in a room filled with this pizza. And later I'll stare at the ocean. Or maybe I'll learn Russian. Or listen to jazz. Or try my hand at needlework. Or open a door for a beautiful woman. Or read a human interest story, or make dessert wine. Or ride a wild horse. Or experiment with watercolors. Eat every slice like it's your last. Especially you, Doug. Especially Doug, right? You care about Doug. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza. Proof that no one outpieces the Hut.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia, Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Better days ahead. When Days Chevrolet in Jasper gives thanks, we give big. With over 20% off MSRP on remaining 2016 models and savings up to $10,000. New Silverado Crew Cabs from just $31,900. Or get 20% off MSRP plus Days discounts on 2016 Malibus. Now just $18,900. Save up to $10,000 off MSRP today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead. Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilbert County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
Pizza Hut makes the best pizza in the entire universe, but they won't tell you that. I've been marooned on this planet for a while now. You are an impressive race. Your children know excellent hiding places. Your oceans aren't filled with lava. And you figured out how to combine a grilled cheese sandwich with a Pizza Hut pizza. Surely interstellar travel will soon follow, and then I can finally get back home. Round. Round like home. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza, proof that no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hey, and we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Let me remind you of something now. We are streaming on 3 different locations. FYNTV.com. It's that simple. You tell your friends. All right. Or FYNTV Fetcher News YouTube channel. If you'll subscribe to it, we're on there live right now. We're sending this live to YouTube and live on Facebook. So we're sending it to 3 places, just to remind you. And also, January 2nd, we're adding 2 new programs. We're adding a program that'll be the first Monday in January. We are working on a newscast, a 1-hour. It'll be besides this show. We won't be preempting this show, and George will still be doing an hour. But we have a 30-minute show that we're not going to tell you about yet. It's a surprise. But we have a 1-hour newscast that's going to be different, I guarantee it, than anything. I tell you what, it's not going to be David Murr of ABC, and it's not going to be CBS, and it's not going to be Martha Raddatz. No, it's not going to be any of those. It's going to be a North Georgia newscast live January 1st. Speaking of that, William, I'm here with my good friend William Bell from Pickens County, and we just did a great update on Senate 54 special election here in North Georgia. Give me some of these names that Donald Trump, how do you think it's going? How do you like some of his picks? How do you like some of the names that's floating out there? Just have at it.
Yeah, what I did and stuff was kind of put some things together, stuff and some profiles and that kind of thing on it. You know, some of the things are already set. Mike Pompeo with the CIA.
CIA, yes.
And I think it's a very good fit. It's a good transitional fit for us because he's seen all those reports. He's had a chance to digest it being on that committee already. So I think that's a good transition for us. Personally, on the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, I've known Jeff Sessions since the mid-90s. Had the pleasure of meeting him and working with him when Fob James was running for the governor as the Republican governor, first time in Alabama, after he'd won as a Democrat, came back and ran as a Republican. And Jeff was very strong in that, pushing that through. I think he'll do fine as an Attorney General.
I want to ask you a question on that one, if you don't mind me interrupting just for a second.
Yeah.
Does it bother you that media is trying to label him a racist? Does that bother you?
Well, I don't know. I think that you're pretty much good, strong evidence that the national media can't turn a presidential election. I don't think they'll have much effect on an Attorney General. And the thing is, if the media does their due diligence, which we know that for the most part the major media doesn't, they'll see that Jeff Sessions has evolved as a fine statesman. He pushed for the civil rights.
Evolved as a fine statesman. I think that is one of the, I think that's been put, you've just put that better than most people I've heard put that, William. He is just that.
Yeah, and that's what we need in Washington, D.C. again. It's been 140 years since we had any. I'm ready for statesmen again, not career politicians who went to law school or political science degrees and went straight to work in politics. I want somebody who actually understands what the working man and working woman does every day and has that feedback from them. And I think that Senator Sessions is that type person. He's been a staunch supporter of the Constitution in Alabama and nationwide, and that's the kind of Attorney General I like to have. That's the reason, I supported Ted Cruz early on in the primary part of it. Was my biggest thing was I want a constitutionalist and somebody who understands it's not a living document, it's a document to be supported.
And I do remember in the primary, that was one, when I say one of, that was one of the things that drove your decision making was the Constitution. So I can agree with that. I like the way you frame, I try to tell people the reason I call it their heads are spinning off, William, is there's 4,000 jobs to fill. Yeah. And I'm not knocking the young people that's went out and gotten these political science degrees and they gotten their law degrees, but that's the career they chose. And they got their resumes ready, and there's career people in Washington, D.C. that they don't care if it's a Republican or a Democrat. They're there to get their job.
That's right. They'll be there Monday morning.
Right. So what else you got there?
Well, the National Security Advisor, I think Michael Flynn, is set. Good, strong, retired Lieutenant General. He's been in the forefront of it in Iraq, and very strong against the Islamic military positions over there. He understands the battle that we've gotten from Fallujah to where we're retaking the territories and what we need to do to support the people there and let them run the missions and us give them the advisory position, that type of thing. So I think that's a good one. Rice Priebus is Chief of Staff. I think that's a good move from a standpoint of for the RNC and for the existing Republicans who are there. I think it was a peace offering as much as anything, but I think it was the right thing to do because that will help our legislative focus in the next year to 2 years to be able to get things done that we wouldn't be able to by having the other person that he was talking to originally about.
I also like the way you frame that, and I like that. And I like to stick on some things as some solid statements. Legislative focus, and I like that, and I like the way you frame that in legislative focus. I have said Priebus is he was loyal.
Absolutely.
Now, during the primary, he was not able, and think of the juggling he did. he was not able to endorse a candidate. He had to stay neutral 17 times.
That's right. Yeah,
and they
not
drug
once.
him on every show, and I even gave him a hard time because he was so neutral, but he had to. From the day the RNC determined who the nominee was, he's not flinched.
No.
Not one bit. And that's very important in the role of chief of staff.
Yes. And same way it was with from the RNC position to the chief of staff, in that you can be sure that the transitional part of what they're doing now, he's giving the best advice. Because as one of the other positions, we'll talk about stuff under the housing and the HSS position that Tom Price's name is now being floated on. You know, I think that Priebus is probably giving good advice of, here's the pool of candidates to pull from for these positions, and here's the cause and the effect if you start tapping senators and people that are in that legislative.
Oh, Priebus knows immediately. If you pull this senator in, you realize that this governor is a Democrat or something, and he's going to appoint this one, we're going to lose the seat. Oh, we can't do that. Or if you bring this person in, they could be challenged in 2 years. So he knows, and I'm glad you bring that up too, because my first thing is a lot of people get out there and they just get to yelling all of a sudden, and there has to be somebody I call in the background doing the math.
That's right. You got to do the math.
And Priebus does the math. They're like, well, I mean, we tapped this governor to do this, or they qualified to do that, and then what are we leaving behind in the space?
Yeah, what's the space?
And I think you're 100% right. Priebus does a good job of doing the math of what the total outcome would be.
Yeah, and realistically, from a legislative standpoint, commitment standpoint, you can be sure he has that resume of everybody that they're looking at. So if I'm going to interview somebody, say I hear a name or I hear some accolades or acumen that I think they're good at, if I can turn around and say, well, what's been their position, or what have they done for us lately? Or what have they done for us in the past 12 years? What's their focus been? And be able to understand what you're getting. Because a resume that's publicly put out is not always the best resume. Sometimes it's what committees they sit on and what was their argument and that type of thing. So
I want to get several more in before we have to close today. What else you got?
You know, my only one that I'm not really crazy about is the chief strategist, Stephen Bannon.
Why?
I just think, and this is my personal opinion.
Sure.
If I'm president and I'm moving forward, I don't want any cabinet position, much less that high of one, that's going to detract media time from my focus. And Steve Bannon will pull media attention off on him away from the focus of what we need to do, especially that first 100 days. That's going to be a rub that we'll just have to deal with. But it also, he's not doing policy. Yeah, there's, you know, they can say he'll be running parallel to Rice Priebus, but I think he might be surprised. He may not be quite as parallel as he thinks he is. And
well, I don't have my glasses on, but I can see from here this one here, and I've been waiting patiently for that one.
All right.
I mean, I want to hear about Bannon, but at the same time, I've been waiting for you to get to the bottom of the page here.
Yeah, like I say, hopefully Bannon will do a good job. I think it's the same thing. A lot of media hype about, you know, I mean, when you get ready to run for office here, they're going to pull every show you've ever done and every guest you've ever had on.
Well, that's why I've already thrown that in the can. No way. Oh my God. Yeah. But I know what you're saying there. I can see what you're saying.
Yeah, if he happens to publish a paper for somebody who was alt-right,
I agree.
It's going to be his fault. It's going to be he supported him, right? So, Secretary of State. There are a lot of good names. John Bolton, good, strong in a lot of respects and stuff, but I think to a certain degree his time has passed. Rudy Giuliani.
I like that. I'm not going to be negative on him. I'm going to agree with you and parallel that. Bolton, time has passed, and that's not negative. I like the way you put that. Yeah. Go ahead.
Rudy Giuliani, great person for the United States and for those things, but I don't think he's the right fit for Secretary of State, just because he has been so. He's a New York guy, and I think there's strength in what he does, but not from a Secretary of State standpoint.
I thought at first he was, and I used the word, so I have to be honest with the viewers. I used the word. I thought at first he may be a brilliant pick for a couple reasons, but after reflecting on it for a little bit, I might have to reel that back in a little bit. I might have to reel that back in. I threw that out there pretty fast on him. I wouldn't be totally upset, but I think I'm agreeing with you on that.
Nikki Haley, fantastic governor.
Well, we found out Nikki Haley has been, and I wanted to go with that. She's gone. She has, don't know about accepted, but she has been offered the UN ambassador.
There you go.
So she got that this morning. Yeah, that's
good. That's
good. Out. That Nikki Haley. So she's come off of that. Nikki Haley, Trump picked South Carolina. Nikki Haley, chosen to be a UN ambassador.
And
I don't feel great about her, but I'm not upset.
Well, and
he hasn't angered me at this point with his picks.
Right. Well, from the standpoint of her career, she's early in her career. There's a lot of cheers for her to move through.
But she buckled to me, and I don't want to get stuck on her, but she buckled to me in South Carolina to media pressure.
Right.
And I do feel there's not a lot of people out there that can handle media pressure outside of Trump. I mean, I do know Cruz has done a good job and other candidates, but end over end, the guy that had the nerve to look in the back of the room on the camera and say, you people are no good, and even you at ABC, you know, hey, she buckled the media pressure over the Confederate flag in South Carolina. I don't want to debate that issue on the show right now, but I'm not upset with it.
No, I'm not upset with it. And I think that's a good move to fill that slot, because she will, I won't say get her marching orders, but she will get her marching orders from Trump and from the Secretary of State pick, because she's one step down from that in that pecking order. So she's going to take our message to the UN. I would like them to pay the rent. That's really what I would like from them to do.
Pay the rent. Move on.
All right, move on.
Pay the rent.
All right, my Secretary of State pick is Bob Corker from Tennessee.
Oh, you and I found a difference, man. I thought we was almost done. I thought we were going to get through it all.
Yeah.
Really? Why Corker? I'm not feeling it, Frank, but I'm going to.
His experience there in Tennessee, I've been fortunate with my full-time job to be involved heavily with the state of Tennessee on the Tennessee Centers for Advanced Technology and legislation, that kind of thing, and see him work at the State House and then turn around and work in D.C. And he's been on that Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and he understands what he's stepping into probably better than any of the other candidates that their names have been floated. I think he'll be a good fit. I've not seen anybody else.
I'm looking for the Secretary of State right now, and this is going to be a broad paintbrush stroke here, but I'm looking for the Secretary of State, William, to go around and do a 180 of what we've done and be honest with other heads of state and not be tempted with corruption at the table, which happens on the world stage when you're sitting with somebody and you trade an energy deal for this and you trade this, and it happens. So I think the Secretary of State has to, because I'm building up to my pick.
Yeah.
I think the Secretary of State has to exemplify that the United States is not out there to make a dirty deal regardless of what's on the table, and will not be pressured in doing so, and will represent the United States as good people but firm people. And please don't throw anything at the screen. Don't yell at me. Take this weekend and think about it. This is a retraction from earlier comments that I have tape on.
Those are always the tough ones.
But if they can retract, then I can. I'm going with Mitt Romney.
Oh, well, Mitt Romney wouldn't.
I will not be upset. I know what I've said, folks, but you know what? If you're sitting at the table, he brought the Olympics was crooked.
Yeah.
In Utah, he saved the Olympics. If you're sitting at the table with anybody, the United States will not enter into or even entertain a corrupt deal on the world stage if Mitt Romney's at the table. It's not his character. It's not who he is.
That's true. That's not his character.
See what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's good choice, good pick.
And I know people out there are not stomaching that right now, and the establishment, and I know they're getting upset because that's actually out of my character. But move on. We got a couple minutes. I didn't mean to get stuck on that.
No, but that's a. I had he and David Petraeus both listed down. Petraeus, not a good fit at all from my standpoint. Too much baggage. But you're right. Mitt Romney's character would carry him through.
Because I think what Trump's doing in these meetings, he's actually looking at best people for the job, and he's putting his personal feelings aside and making America first.
Okay. Well, what a concept.
Right? I mean, exactly. All right, we got a couple minutes, so we're going to have to go into rapid fire, and I'm the one that's holding you up.
All right. Treasury Secretary, I think that Jeb Hunsarling, he's from Texas. He's already on the House Financial Services Committee, worked very hard in Texas on the banks, the HBSCs and that type of thing with international transfer of funds and trying to work through those to get us money back on the money that was leaving the United States. I think Jeb's a good pick. Defense Secretary, my top two picks, I'm kind of torn between the two. Tom Cotton from Arkansas, same thing. I look at him kind of like I do with Bob Corker. He's got the experience, Afghan war veteran, Army infantry, and is well thought of in the Senate and in the House. Duncan Hunter, he's younger representative from California, and he's a Marine Reserve officer, and he served both in Iraq and Afghanistan both.
Now, is that the same as Department of Defense, or is that different?
No, that's it. Department of Defense.
Hasn't he already offered that, or isn't that General Mathis already been offered that?
He'll be in the Department of Defense, but not Defense Secretary.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a difference in the correlation of day in, day out things that are done that Mathis would be in charge of versus formulating the things from the White House for
Well, I want Mathis in there somewhere because I don't think you can go wrong with anybody with the name Mad Dog.
There you go.
I got 2 minutes, so you got a minute to name two more, and I've got to close the show.
Right.
We've just had too much fun. I got to have you back.
Interior Secretary, I think that Forrest Lucas, president of Lucas Oil Products, I think he would be a good fit for that, just because he is very focused on technology and always has been. I think he'd be a good person for Interior Secretary. Agricultural Secretary, Sonny Perdue's name was floated.
I'm hearing Sonny Perdue. What do you think?
I think it's just something to float to eat up a little media time.
All right, I've got to wrap up, but Secretary of Commerce. I want him to pick, and I'm not hearing the name, but that may be a tricky move. I want him to pick David Perdue myself.
No, I want David to stay where he's at. He's doing what we sent him there for.
Yeah, but we talked about Rice Previs would be able to do the math.
Yeah.
If Perdue does step up to that, Georgia could be pretty comfortable. We could get a conservative congressman, senator.
What I'd like to do is see Mr. Isakson get stepped down in a year or so for his health issues, and the governor put somebody back in there and finish out his term, and let's move forward.
Boy, you opened a can of worms, and we've got to. I mean, that was a perfect way to end. You gave us a good reason to come back, Fred.
Absolutely.
Hey, I've been here with William Bell. William Bell is the membership coordinator down there for the Pickens County Republican Party, and he has joined me this morning. Don't forget, the 54th district of the state of Georgia, the Senate district, has a special election. We're going to have that segment. Mr. Bell went completely through all 5 candidates, when the election is and what's going on there, and the meet and greet that's going on. So that'll be up on our YouTube channel. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. George will be up right after these messages. Happy Thanksgiving. We will not be here Thursday and Friday. We will not. We'll be back Monday morning, and we're going to start telling you more about our 1-hour newscast that's launching the first Monday of January that we're putting together, and another show we got going on. Again, I think the media is the swamp that's being drained first and foremost, and they don't know what to do about it. And because there's guys like George coming up, there's guys like William Bell, and there's guys like me, BKP, that just come tell you what it is, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
How's your shoulder doing? Okay.
Doing phenomenally well. If anybody needs a shoulder replacement, Emory University Health is the place to go. Phenomenal care.
Well, he needs a shoulder replacement so he can get back into pads. He's starting next season on the front line. I'm your host, BKP. George will be right here in just a minute. Happy Thanksgiving, folks.
Happy Thanksgiving.